All right, what's up, everyone? It's Elijah with IH Pet Marketing, and welcome to part 6 of 7 of the Google Ads for Dog Trainers series. In this video, we are going to be going over the 7-figure campaign build that we've used for our dog training clients over the last 2 years to generate over $2 million in additional revenue for these clients. I'm going to teach you guys everything I know about building a good Google Ads campaign. If you haven't watched videos 1 through 5 yet, pause this, go watch videos 1 through 5 in sequential order, then come back to this. Everything that we've talked about in videos 1 through 5 is essential before you start building out your campaign. And if you think you're going to just skip everything and just build a campaign like most people do right out of the gate, you're going to be sorry. You're not going to make good money from your Google Ads campaign. You're probably going to lose money, in fact. So go ahead and watch videos 1 through 5. They're essential to this whole series. With that said, for those of you who have watched videos 1 through 5, welcome to part 6 of the Google Ads for Dog Trainers series. And congratulations for making it this far in the series. There's been a lot of work that we've had to do to get to this point, from doing our market research, building out our CRM, and making sure that we have a follow-up process in place, building out our landing page, right? Setting up conversion tracking. All these things are essential to creating a successful Google ad campaign. Most people skip all of that stuff, go right into building a campaign with no strategy in place, and that's why they fail. For those of you who have done the work that's required, you're one of the few who's going to win with Google Ads. With that said, let's go ahead and dive into it. All right, so first things first, why Google search ads? Well, roughly half the population in the United States makes a Google search each day. That's around 160 million people. Out of those 160 million people, only 8 million, or 5%, go to the second page of the search results, while the remaining 152 million, or 95%, never leave the first page. Which means if you want to be unfairly profitable with Google search, organic or paid, you must consistently be able to land on the first page where 95% of the market is. But achieving this organically through SEO simply does not offer the same speed, control, and scalability that Google Ads does. What Google Search Ads lets us do is skip the line and pay to be on the first page of the search results. If you get this right, it will completely transform your business and you'll never have to worry about client acquisition again. But if you don't know what you're doing, you'll lose money or make a lot less than you could be if you did. We're going to be going We're going to be building out a Google ad campaign together. So in this video, we're going to go ahead and build out a campaign together. And again, this is a 7-figure campaign build that we've used to generate millions of dollars for our dog training clients. We're going to be covering things like campaign structure, campaign settings, ads, ad groups, keywords, headlines, descriptions, and assets. Okay, so let's go over campaign structure. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a bit more so you guys can see this diagram I have here. Okay, so there's really going to be 3 levels to a Google ad campaign. You're going to have the campaign level, which is shown here at the top. And then within that campaign, you're going to have ad groups. And then within the ad group, you will have your ad. Okay, so your campaign is going to contain things like your conversion goals, the networks that you want to advertise on, the areas that you want to target, your bidding strategy. All right, those settings are configured at the campaign level. And then within your campaign, we have an ad group. And an ad group is really just a subcategory within a campaign. And it's used to group related keywords and ads together. And don't worry, this will make more sense in just a bit. And then within your ad group, we have an ad. And that's going to be your ad. It's going to be what people see when they are on Google in the search results, right? And that's going to contain things like your headlines, your descriptions, your keywords, your images, and your assets. All right. So that is the structure of a Google Ads campaign. All right. Now, campaign. So how you configure your campaign settings will play a huge factor in the behavior of your ad, quantity of clicks, the cost per click, the quality of the click, and should be done strategically. Ads. Put simply, it's what people will see in the search results. Okay, and I have a little image here that illustrates what an ad looks like. Now, of course, this is just an example. Okay, an ad certainly can look a little different than this. They can contain things like images on the right side. They can contain things like site links down here at the bottom, right? But you get the idea. An ad is what people will see in the search results, and it primarily consists of things like your headlines, your descriptions, your images, your business logo, your business name, your business's number, and site links. So now we have ad groups. So ad groups let us tailor our headlines and descriptions to match a user's keywords and search intent as much as possible. For example, guys, if someone is going to Google and they're typing in something along the lines of board and train near me, we wouldn't want to show up in the search results with a headline that says in-home private lessons or group classes near you, right? Because it's completely unrelated to what the user is typing in. And it's a low chance that they'll click the ad if they're typing in board and train and an ad pops up with the headline that says group classes or private training, right? If we don't use ad groups wisely, this is what will happen. All right, so now we've covered the campaign structure. So now you understand that there's a campaign level and settings within the campaign level, and you have your ad group, which is within the campaign, and it helps us group related keywords and ads together. And then within the ad group, you will have your ad, and that is your headlines, your descriptions, your keywords, and images. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and dive into the campaign build. All right. So at this point, you should have a Google Ads account already created. I'm going to assume that you do. If you don't, go ahead and create one. It's straightforward. And we're going to go ahead and dive into a demonstration Google Ads account that I have, and we're going to go ahead and start to build a campaign together. So here we are in our Google Ads account. Let's go ahead and click on the plus icon on the top left. Click on campaign. We're creating a new campaign. For an objective, just click on create a campaign without guidance. For the campaign type, go ahead and click search. Now we need to select a conversion goal. And if you haven't watched video 5, go ahead and watch it. We go all into conversions, setting up conversion tracking, what a quality conversion is, what it is not. Go ahead and watch it if you haven't watched it yet. First thing we need to do is set our campaign goals as quality conversions. So for now, you probably only have a form submission conversion, which was created in our last video. And that's the one we're going to use as our conversion goal for this campaign. So make sure you select your submit lead forms conversion goal that we created in the last video. And then click continue. Don't check any of these boxes. Don't worry about it. Click continue. Come up with a campaign name. We're just going to go IHPM search. And so for you guys, company name or the type of campaign you're running. So it's a search campaign. If it's fits specifically for like a board and train program, you could type in, board and train dash search or your company name dash search. Not a big deal. Pick a campaign name, click on continue, start new. Now for bidding, we are going to be using, for now, the maximize clicks bidding strategy. This is super important here, okay? If you're going to follow along and use the maximize clicks bid strategy, you must watch part 7 of this series, the optimization video. All right, I have it written here in bold. Must watch if using maximize clicks bidding strategy. And you'll understand why when you watch the video. With that said, maximize clicks. Keep every other box unchecked, and let's go to next. All right, now turn off display in search network. So Google Ads already likes to check this for you. Go ahead and uncheck it. Simply put, the reason we don't want to use these other networks is because you're simply just going to get a lot of low quality traffic and a lot of extra inventory that Google has laying around that they need to get rid of. That's why they like to check these boxes for you. And that's why they say recommended. Typically, you're not going to want to use Google search or Google display. It's going to send you a bunch of low quality traffic. That's not what we're shooting for here. We want high quality leads. So uncheck those boxes. So now let's look at locations. So down here you have locations. First things first, go ahead and select the locations that you want to target. Super simple. Just click on enter another location down here, click on advanced search, and then type in the areas, the cities that you want to target. So for example, if we wanted to do Dallas, Texas, we type in Dallas, click on include, and now we're targeting Dallas, Texas. Pretty straightforward. Go ahead and target your desired service areas. All right, then once you do that, click save. Now, I have it written here, turn on presence, people in or regularly in your included locations. So if you see this little drop down here where it says location options, go ahead and click it. And again, Google has already checked this box for you, but you don't want this box checked. You want this one checked. All right, so let me read these off and I'll explain why. So at the top here, we have presence or interest. People in, regularly in, or who showed interest in your included locations. Google recommends this one. At the bottom, we just have presence, people in, or regularly in your included locations. The reason we don't want to choose this top one is because of this right here. People who've shown interest in your included locations. So if we're targeting Dallas, Texas, and that's our service area, and we only want to target Dallas, Texas residents, then if someone who's in San Francisco wants to take a vacation to Dallas and they go online and they type in, Dallas places, nice places to stay in Dallas, Texas, or good restaurants in Dallas, Texas. Google's going to recognize that person as someone who's interested in Dallas, Texas, and they will be more likely, or rather, they will show your ad in front of those people in front of that person who lives in Frisco, who's interested in Texas because they have a vacation. Google's going to show your ad in front of that person. We don't want San Francisco residents to see our ads. We want Dallas, Texas residents to see our ads, not people who are interested in vacationing in Dallas, Texas for a week and then, not coming back for another 2 years, right? So that's why we don't select this button here, this radio button. We select the one down here because this is only for people who are in or regularly in your included locations, not for people who have shown interest in your locations. A lot of people don't know this setting. Make sure you click presence, people in or regularly in your included locations. What's next? All right, we've already set up our bidding strategy. So now we're just going to go ahead and click on next. So we've selected our bidding strategy. We've unchecked these networks that we don't want our ads to show for, and we've selected our locations. Now let's click next. Go ahead and click next again. Skip this. So Google is going to force us to put keywords in, headlines and descriptions in right now. We don't want to do that right now. We want to do that later, but Google's going to force us to do it. So if someone else knows the way around this, let me know. But from what I understand, Google is going to force us to go through this process. So what I like to do typically is just add some random filler text to get this done. And then once we publish your campaign, we're going to immediately pause it and then create the settings that we actually want and the keywords and the headlines and all that stuff. But for now, this is just going to be filler text. So we're going to do like training 1, 2, 3 as a keyword. Obviously, we're not really using this as a keyword. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and scroll down. And then for your final URL, just go ahead and put your landing page URL. This is going to be the page that you want people to go to. All right. Now for headlines, again, just random stuff here, guys. Training 1, 2, 3, training 1, 2, 3, 4, training 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you only have to do 3 headlines minimum, so just do 3. Descriptions, again, random descriptions. And then just click next. Custom budget, go ahead and do $1. Click next. All right, now our campaign is ready to publish. Now again, we are not finished. We are just getting started. Upon publishing your campaign, immediately pause it. I'll show you how to do that. Publish. All right, so now we publish this campaign. Go ahead and click on the drop down here where it says campaigns. Click on campaigns. Actually, if you see your campaign is selected up here and it says enabled with this little green dot, go ahead and click that drop down and then click paused. Okay, and now your campaign is paused. If you don't see this, just go ahead and click on campaigns, right? And you will be able to see, oh, I have a filter on that doesn't let me see it right now. So if you go ahead and click on this drop down that says campaigns, you'll be able to see your campaign here and then click this drop down and then just click pause. All right, so now we've created this campaign. We have it configured properly in the campaign settings, but we haven't created our ad groups or our ads yet. Everything that we did so far was just filler text for the ads and the ad groups. Now we have it paused, and let's go on to the next step. All right, so now we have created our campaign. We have all the settings configured the way we want them, but we still have to create ad groups. We still have to create ads within the ad groups, and we still have to do a little bit of keyword research. So let's go ahead and dive into that. Now, I want to go ahead and quickly scroll up to this diagram here just to refresh your mind on ad groups. If you remember, there is 3 levels to a campaign structure. You're going to have your campaign at the top level, and then within your campaign, you will have ad groups, and then within each ad group will contain one ad. And the ad group is used to group related keywords and ads together. That way, if someone types in board and train near me, they don't see an ad that says group classes near me. It's completely unrelated. We don't want that to happen. By strategically setting up our ad groups, we will keep that from happening and be able to show the most relevant ads to people based on their search query. So, single themed ad groups. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Single themed ad groups are a very popular method for using ad groups. And basically what we're going to be doing is breaking our ad groups up by keyword themes around the types of programs you offer. Examples. An ad group, you can have an ad group that's a general ad group. So for people who are typing in a general search term like dog trainers in my area, we would want to trigger the general ad group and show them a general headline and description, right? Like dog training near you, right? If someone's typing in something like board and train near me, we want to make sure they trigger the board and train ad group that's going to contain the headlines and descriptions that are board and train specific. More relevance. So when someone sees your ad, it's board and train specific, they click it, proceed. And it's the same logic here with the private lessons or a day training or a group class ad group. All right, I hope this is making sense for you guys. Now that we've explained the ad groups, I want to go ahead, hold that thought. We're going to come back to this in a minute. Just keep following along here. We're going to dive into keywords really quick. So a brief pause, time to dive into keywords. So go ahead and quickly create a spreadsheet. This should take you 2 minutes. Create a spreadsheet and just create columns for the ad group themes that you would like to create. Again, if you offer board and train, create a board and train ad group. If you offer, day training or private lessons or group classes, create themes based on the service types that you offer. All right. So go ahead and create a spreadsheet. It should look something like this. Now we need to go to our Google Ads keyword planner. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up your Google Ads account. You're going to hover over where it says tools. You're going to click the planning dropdown and then click on keyword planner. And then you're going to click on discover new keywords. All right. Now, what we're going to be doing is this is where you can do your keyword research. All right, now don't overthink this. A lot of people think keywords are everything with Google Ads, and that may have been true in 2012, but today there's many factors that Google looks at to determine when and where you should rank at any given time in the search results, and keywords are just one of those factors. Don't overthink the keywords. They will be refined more in the future, and you're going to see that in the optimization video that is the next video after this one, right? So don't overthink your keywords. We're really only looking for 3 to 6 keywords, max 6 keywords for each ad group that you create, right? So if you have a board and train ad group, we're going to look for roughly 3 to 6 keywords that are board and train related. Private lessons, 3 to 6 keywords that are private lesson related. Group classes, day training, so on and so forth, okay? So only 3 to 6 keywords per ad group. I would really say don't do any more than 6 at most. So let's go ahead and do a board and train related keyword. And we're just going to type in something like board and train near me, right? Very popular search term. Go ahead and click get results. Don't get overwhelmed by everything that you're seeing here on the interface. There's really only a few columns that we need to look at here. We need to look at average monthly searches, and I'm going to go ahead and click it and so basically what it is doing is bringing up the most popular keyword search terms to the top, right? So the ones that are searched most often are showing here at the top, and then the ones that are searched least often are showed more near the bottom. Okay, so you want to know this column, and then you're going to want to know these two columns here on the right. Top of bid, top of page bid, low range, and top of page bid, high range. So this will kind of give you an estimation of what you can expect to pay for your click. Roughly, it's going to usually fall right in the middle. So right here we have $2 to $8. You could probably expect your average click to be roughly 5 to 6. Sometimes it might even go past 8, up to 12, right? Don't worry about that. Typically, you can expect your keywords to be in the middle of the range here. All right. So if you're looking for keywords, you're going to go ahead and filter out the most common ones and go ahead and look through them and choose on some keywords that you want. Again, don't overthink this. Your keywords will evolve over time. We're just getting you started here. So like board training dog near me, that's pretty good. Dog board training near me, that's pretty good. And if you keep going down, you might find something that's like a similar variation to board and train, just a different term, like boot camp. So someone might be typing in boot camp instead of board and train, and that's okay. So you might want to consider adding a boot camp keyword to your board and train ad because they're used interchangeably by people. And you might find something where it's like, 2-week dog training camp. So now it's getting a bit more specific, right? So someone might be looking specifically for a 2-week dog training camp, aka board and train. I mean, you might want to consider putting something like that in, something that's a bit more specific, because you have to remember, the more specific it is, and the more you can nail that specificity, meaning their search query to your ad, the more likely they're going to click it. When it's something more broad, like board and train near me, yes, you'll get a lot of traffic from bidding on a keyword like that, but it's going to be a little bit more expensive keyword because there's going to be a lot of competition for board and train near me. And also, it's less specific, right? And so the click-through rate, you can usually expect it to be a little bit lower. You have a lot more competition. Board and train near me is specific to board and train, but is general other than that. Whereas something like 2-week board and train, now you're getting a little bit more specific, right? And so go ahead and look through these keywords and use this same reasoning with all your other keywords that you search for. So let's go ahead and do another one. Let's do something like group classes for dogs. Get results. All right. So now we're looking at the most popular search terms that are closely related to group classes for dogs. We can see the price here on the right. It's a little bit cheaper than something like a board and train, anywhere from 142 to 548. So you're probably looking at an average of 350 per click, roughly. And then here to the right, you can see some search terms, right? So, dog training classes near me. So maybe someone isn't going to type in group classes near me and they're just going to type in dog training classes. And this could be a great keyword to use. Dog obedience classes near me. It's a great keyword to use. All right. And if you're really going to get specific with like classes for puppies or board and train for puppies, you can also create ad groups that are specific for people looking for a type of program for a puppy. The more specific you can get, the better. Just takes more work. So go ahead, pause this video, take your time to do some keyword research, use this keyword planner, right? Type in keywords that are related to your theme and go ahead and choose 3 to 6 keywords at most for each theme. Put them in a spreadsheet like this. And really quick, I kind of already mentioned this a minute ago, but match and meaning. So we want keywords that will match a user's search query, but we also want some meaning behind the keyword. So you don't just want to put dog trainer as a keyword. You don't want to bid on a keyword like dog trainer because it's general and can have many meanings, right? So if you're bidding on a word like dog trainer, you might have someone who's looking for a dog training book. You might have someone who's looking for information on how to become a dog trainer, right? So when you use a really general term like dog trainer, you can see how you're going to get a lot of traffic that is unrelated to what you're trying to, the market you're trying to serve. So get specific with your keywords. Not over specific, but enough where there is some intent and some meaning behind the keyword more than just dog trainer. All right. So now we're going to dive into keyword match types. And this is something that's very important to understand because if you don't understand how keyword match types work, you're going to waste a lot of money on clicks that are completely unrelated to the search, to the keyword that you are bidding on. For example, if you're bidding on a keyword that is board and train near me, you might find in the search terms reports that you spent $7 on a click for someone who typed in Caesar Milan dog training course that triggered your board and train ad. You wouldn't want to spend $7 on a click for someone who typed in Caesar Milan dog training course for your board and train ad, right? If you don't understand keyword match types, you'll fall into traps like that. So I'm going to explain how they work. And I'm going to go ahead and just refer to this Google Ads support doc. I think they do a great job at explaining keyword match types in addition to showing you guys some visuals to help support the text here. So let me go ahead and zoom in so we can see a little better. All right, and we're going to start off. Let me make sure I am still recording. Yes, I am. So we're going to start off at the top here, understanding keyword matching options in Google Ads. So keyword matching options control how closely a keyword must match a user's search query for an ad to be considered. Options include broad, phrase, and exact match, each offering different levels of reach and specificity. Negative keywords exclude ads from certain searches. We're going to cover negative keywords in the next video. The keyword match types dictate how closely the keyword needs to match with the user's query so that the ad can be considered for the auction. For example, you could use a broad match to serve your ad on a wide variety of searches, or you could use exact match to hone in on specific user searches. So with that example I just gave you a minute ago with the board and train keyword and the Caesar Milan dog training search term, if you're using something like broad match, board and train near me is the keyword you've chosen, and you're using a broad match type for that keyword, there's a good chance you might end up with a Caesar Milan dog training course $7 click that you pay for because it's a broad match and you're really giving Google a lot of freedom to show your ad for various search queries, even if they're completely unrelated from your keyword. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a time to use broad match, and we'll talk about that in video number 7, the optimization video. But starting out, do not use broad match keywords. So now let's go ahead and dive into some examples here. So I'll zoom in a bit more here. So keyword match types. So for this example, they're using the keyword furniture store. All right, so the keyword furniture store, we can match the following queries. So we have exact match, we have phrase match, and we have broad match. These are the 3 different type of match types. And each match type is denoted either by a bracket, by a quote, or by nothing at all. Meaning when you, and we'll do this in a minute, when you go and select your keywords and add them to your Google Ads campaign, you'll either want to put brackets around it, and that tells Google that this is an exact match type. You might put quotes around it, and that tells Google that this is a phrase match type. And if you don't put anything, any brackets or any quotes around it, quotations, and it's just the word itself, then that is going to be a broad match type. All right. So keyword match types, and we have the keyword furniture store as an example. So for an exact match for the word furniture store, ads may show on searches that are the same meaning as your keyword. And that's an important phrase right there. It's the same meaning. So ads may show on searches that are the same meaning as your keyword. So for the keyword furniture store, if someone types in furniture store, then you're definitely, there's a very good likelihood that you'll show up at the very top of the search results. You have an exact match keyword and someone is typing in that query exactly the same. But you also might show up, even if it's exact match, it will still show your ad for searches that are closely related to your exact match keyword. So for example, you might show up for, if your keyword is furniture store and it's exact match, you might show up for home furnishing shop, right? Furniture store, furnishing shop, home furnishing shop, it's still very closely related to furniture store. So that means so basically what you're going to be getting is just more, you're going to be getting higher quality clicks because when your ad shows up, it's only going to be for people who are typing in search terms really close to your keyword. Phrase match. So now we're loosening it up a little bit. And I actually have this diagram here that kind of shows how it works, right? So exact match, each circle is like the size of the market, that the potential market that you can show your ad for, right? So exact match is going to be very specific and only to people who type in a keyword that matches the same meaning. Then you might have phrase match where it opens it up and now you're getting a whole new group of search terms and keywords. And then broad, you go even more out. Now you're getting whole new search terms and keywords, right? So for phrase match, ads may show on searches that include the meaning of your keyword. And this is an important differentiation here. So if we look at exact match, it says ads may show on searches that are the same meaning. But for phrase match, ads may show on searches that include the meaning, right? So it starts to broaden things out a bit more. So for the word furniture store as a phrase match, you might show up for cheap furniture stores, which is still good. You might show up for living room furniture deals, which is still pretty good. And you might even show up for what store is the best place to find a bedroom dresser, right? So what store is the best place to find a bedroom dresser is still very related to furniture store because you can have someone who's in your area looking for a bedroom dresser and they want to know the best place to find that. Well, your furniture store might have that. Therefore, this kind of phrase, though it's a more long tail keyword, is still a good keyword, excuse me, to show up for, right? Now let's go to broad. So broad, ads may show on searches that relate to your keyword. So we went from ads may show on searches that are the same meaning as your keyword to ads may show on searches that relate to your keyword, or it may not, right? So if you have a furniture store as your keyword and it's a broad match keyword, so you don't have quotes, you don't have brackets around it, it's just the keyword, you might show up for someone who types in home decor. That's very, very broad, right? You might show up for something for someone who types in cream colored leather sectional. And again, that's very, very broad because that person who's looking for a cream colored leather sectional might not want to go drive to a store. They might be looking for an online solution where it can get delivered to their house, right? They might be looking at, um, just a bunch of different they might be looking at a bunch of different options of different leather sectionals just to get some ideas for the house they're going to get in a year from today. Right? Meaning like their intent is not very high at this point, and you might not want your ad to show up for someone who's just typing in something super broad like cream colored leather sectional if you own a furniture store and you're running ads for your furniture store. All right, so I hope this is starting to make some sense here. And as you can see here, it even shows down here, right? For exact match, type matching, phrase match, moderate matching, broad match, comprehensive matching, right? So I'm not going to go ahead and read through any of this stuff here. If you would like to know more about keyword match types, I do have this support doc linked in the Google Doc here, which you'll have access to in the description below. We don't need your email. We don't need your info. It's totally free. All right. But that's how keyword match types work. For now, that's really all you need to know. Exact match is going to show your ad for people who are typing in a keyword that has the same meaning as the one you're bidding on. Phrase match is going to start to broaden it up where it's still going to be the same meaning as your keyword, but it's just going to be, it might have a little bit more specificity to it, a little bit more of a long tail keyword. And broad match, that's the Wild West. You can really end up with some wacky stuff if you're using broad match. There is a time and place for broad match. We'll talk about it in video 7, but that is keyword match types. All right, so that is keyword match types. Now, what I would suggest to you guys who are just starting out with a brand new campaign, don't use broad match keywords. Not yet. All right, start out with exact match and phrase. Also, I want to go ahead and just take a quick step back. We've covered a lot in this video so far. We're still a little bit all over the place. Don't worry, everything is going to fall in place. I had to cover this initial groundwork for everything to make sense later on in the video, and that's where we're at now. So just stick with me. Everything's going to start to fall into place and make sense. All right, so those were keyword match types. Now let's talk about ads. So most people think Google Ads is simple. You bid on a keyword, someone searches it, and your ad shows up at the top. Not quite, right? There's many factors that determine when and where you rank at any given time. Things like budget, things like the age of your account, the keywords you're using, and the match types. Bid strategy, the time of day, user search history, user demographics, the conversion history in your account, the click-through rate of your campaign, the competition in your area. And this is just to name a few factors that Google looks into. But I don't want you to overthink this. If you really want to win with Google Ads, just focus on relevance. We must remember, Google wants to give its users the best experience possible, which means surfacing results that are relevant to their search query and its intent. People are quickly scanning for headlines and descriptions that are relevant to their search intent. Again, if someone is typing in board and train near me, a headline that says group classes or private lessons will be overlooked by the user. It's irrelevant to their search query. Or maybe your headline does contain board and train, but if a user clicks on that and it takes them to a landing page with a big header at the top that says, with big bold letters that say private in-home lessons in XYZ city, there's a good chance that user is going to click away from your landing page because it's not related to their search intent, which is the board and train program. The more relevant and helpful your ad and landing page is to a user's search query and its meaning, the higher likelihood they will click and convert. Now let's go ahead and dive into what your ads are made up of, which are headlines, descriptions, and assets. And this is when we're actually going to dive in and build out our ad. So really quick, I put a stop sign here. If you haven't completed the market research worksheet, do it. Otherwise, you may as well say, yes, I want to make 80% less money. All right, that's how important it is. Again, every video in this series needs to be watched in sequential order. Video number 3, the market research video, is essential to the success of your Google ad campaign. So if you haven't watched it yet, go watch it, go complete the research worksheet, and then come back here. And we must remember, right? So when you're creating your ad, I want you guys to remember by the time someone is looking at your ad in the search results, that person has already, they got a dog, they recognize they have issues with their dog, so much so that they're going out of their way to pull out their phone or sit down at their computer, go to Google and type in a dog training solution near me. So by the time someone sees your ad, you want to put yourself in their shoes and ask, what problems are they dealing with? How can I help them? What's the desired outcome that they want? How can I make it easy for them to get started? What city/area do they live in? These are all things you want to consider when you're building out your ad. Good headlines and descriptions are clear, they're simple, they're informative, they're benefit driven, they're skimmable, they're authoritative, and they're relevant to the ad group. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into Google Ads really quick. I've already created an ad group. It's called stag-bnt. You guys should have already got your ad groups prepared, and you should already have your keywords prepared at this point. Go ahead and create. I would suggest just do one ad group at a time. So for now, we're going to start with the board and train ad group. So right now I have an ad group. It's called stag-bnt. And again, stag stands for single themed ad group. And now we need to go ahead and add keywords to this ad group, and then we're going to create our ad. Now, for demonstration, for the sake of keeping this video short, I'm not going to sit here and add a bunch of keywords and create a whole ad and do all that. What I'm going to do is basically just add one keyword as an example, and then we're going to go ahead and dive into the ad building part together. So right now we're looking at our ad group, stag BNT. If we go over to keywords, we are now still looking at our ad group, and you can see that here. And we only have one keyword right now, and it's an exact match keyword, which again, guys, if you're just starting out, don't use broad match, use phrase, use exact match. Right now, we just have one keyword. It's an exact match keyword, and it's board and train near me. All right. Now we need to go to ads. So again, here's our campaign. We're looking at the ad group stag BNT, and now we are looking at the ad for stag BNT. So let's go ahead and click on the ad here. All right, now what we're looking at here is a response. What we're building here is what's called a responsive search ad. All right, so what you see here is a bunch of different headline options, and you can actually add more. And I would suggest adding as many headline options as you can, which I think is about 15 headlines in total. And basically what you're going to do is create a bunch of different headlines. And you're going to create at least 2 to 3 descriptions. And what Google is going to do is they're going to automatically mix and match these headlines and descriptions in various combinations to test and find out which combination works best. All right, so you're creating a bunch of headlines and descriptions, and all those headlines and descriptions will be tested across different users at different times of the day for different search queries to determine which combinations work best. And as you start to fill out your headlines, Google will actually give you a preview of what your ad will look like, right? An idea, so you can get an idea of what your ad's going to look like with the headlines and the descriptions that you're choosing. All right, now I'm not going to sit here and give you guys all my secret headlines and a bunch of different copywriting strategies. A lot of this is covered in the market research worksheet. And as long as you finish that worksheet and you understand what your bridge blocks are, then you will easily be able to create good headlines and good descriptions. But to give you guys a little bit of an example of what a good headline might look like for a board and train campaign, you might want something like, obviously, let's start off with something simple, like board and train program, right? And you might even type in, like, if you offer pickup and drop off, which is great, you might want to type in something like pickup and drop off included, right? And if you have some sort of guarantee with your program, lifetime guarantee, right? You might want to type in something like, your dog stays with us, right? So now it's like a bit more informative, okay? Right? Because remember, your ads and your headlines and descriptions should be clear and simple, informative, benefit driven, skimmable, authoritative, and relevant to the ad group, right? Another thing, depending on which area you're in, you're probably going to want to type in, for example, if we lived in Dallas, Texas, we're going to want to type in Dallas, Texas, okay? And, surrounding areas. And you only have 30 characters max here. So as soon as we go 31, the value is too long and we have to shorten up our headline. All right, so again, if you've done the market research worksheet and you've watched through that video, you should have everything you need to create badass headlines and descriptions yourself. I don't have to sit here and give you all the answers. You should be able to apply some critical thinking based on what I've taught you so far. All right, so there's an example for some headlines, and for some descriptions, you want to expand a little bit more, right? So you could do something like, we offer 1, or rather 2, 4, and 6-week board and train programs. Pickup and drop off included, right? So that can be, oh yeah, and let me go ahead and scroll up so now you guys can kind of see some examples of a ad preview. It looks like they want me to add a few things before they give me an example. But here you can kind of see, right, like Dallas, Texas and surrounding areas, lifetime guarantee. Anyways, you guys will be able to see more stuff here because I'm using a demonstration account. I don't really have a legitimate Google Ads account here. You guys will, and you'll be able to see some examples and preview your headlines and your descriptions and their various combinations. And you can kind of see what that looks like here, right? So, add a little bit of information in your description, right? Maybe do something like, you know, done for you dog training solution. And you actually might want to put something like this for like your headline even, maybe done for you dog training, right? Um, Serving all of Dallas, Texas, and surrounding areas. Put an end to leash pulling, excessive barking, and counter surfing today. All right, now this is just random off of the head, just descriptions here. I probably wouldn't put something like this. It's a little cheesy, right? But again, this is just to give you guys an idea of what you should be thinking about as you complete your headlines and complete your descriptions. Okay? All right, now this actually serves as a reminder to me. There's one thing we need to go over that I forgot to touch on, which is advertiser verification. Let's go ahead and do that right now, and we're going to come right back to where we were. Let me pause this. All right, so advertiser verification, this is something that's super important, and I completely forgot to cover this, but again, it's important, guys. So advertiser verification, go ahead and complete this. Just go to billing, hover over billing, go to advertiser verification, click start task. Sometimes there's a couple layers of verification that they require you to go through, but they usually take only 1 to 2 minutes tops. And by doing your advertiser verification, it will allow you to show your logo, images, and your business name in your ads, which is super important. Do not skip out on the advertiser verification. All right, so let's get back to where we were. Now, I didn't save my ad where we were at, so everything looks back to where it was, but you guys understand, I think, at this point, what a good headline should look like and what a good description should look like. Okay. Go ahead and add your business name, add your logo, right? And then here we have site links. And site links are basically links that show up at the bottom of your ad. So here you can see we have what would be a logo, a business name, and the landing page URL. And then we have your headline here. Then we have the description, and then beneath that will be site links. And these site links will have their own text, and they will also have a link attached to them. Right? So if you want to take someone to a specific section of your landing page upon clicking the site link, you can do that. Right? And with site links, I typically, you just kind of want to write something along the lines of, um, book free evaluation. Right? So if you're offering free evals, you can put that as a site link, and that's a great appealing site link, right? And then add a description to support that free evaluation. It could even just be something like just complete our form to claim, right? Um, or you can even just put complete our short form to claim. So now someone's going to see book free evaluation with some text right beneath that that says complete our short form to claim. And then you could take someone, the final URL is just basically going to be the URL that the person is redirected to upon clicking the button. This should still take them to your landing page. If you want to take someone to a specific section, you can do that as well. All right, so let's see. So we have headlines created. We have descriptions created. You added your business name and its logo and all that. You've created some site links. And then right here, you'll notice we have more asset types. So if you go ahead and click the drop down, you'll notice we have some more assets that we can add to our ad. And this is great because it gives people more information and it also gives you more real estate in the search results by adding more information to your ad. There's really only three assets you need to worry about here, and it's going to be the call asset, call outs, and structured snippets. So go ahead and click plus on the call asset, and we're going to add your phone number to the call asset. So go ahead here and just add your phone number, and I'm just going to put a random number for now. All right, and you should be able to see a preview of it here beneath your ad. And you'll notice it says call reporting is turned on, and there is also a default conversion action that is going to be turned on, and that's going to be the calls from ads conversion action. So we've already created a form submission conversion action, but this is an account default conversion action within Google Ads that will happen automatically upon someone seeing your ad and clicking the phone number here to give you a call. And that's great. Go ahead and click save. I'm going to go ahead and just use this number I already have. And upon saving, you should be able to see your number here in the preview. Now we're going to do a call out. So a call out, call outs and structured snippets are really just appendages to your description. It's really all it is. You can do things like add benefits to your programs, right? You can, for example, you can write pickup and drop off. You can write free evaluations, right? You can write, you know, lifetime support guarantee. You can put things like that. You can put the areas that you service, right? So if we go to call outs here, here's an example of some areas that you potentially could service. Now, I don't know anything about Dallas, Texas. These are all just random cities, but let's say you service Dallas, Texas, and all these other surrounding cities. You can go ahead and add them, and you'll see here in the preview, we have our description, training 123 and training 1234, and then we have our call out, Dallas, Texas, Folsom, Granite Bay, Elk Grove. So go ahead and click apply, and now you can see in the preview, you'll have your description in addition to the call out text. Now let's add a structured snippet. So a structured snippet is very similar to a call out text. The key differentiator is that the structured snippet has a header applied to it. And so if we click plus here, we go to create, you'll see that we have to select a header type. Okay, so there's a couple different header types you can choose. For this example, I'm just going to choose service catalog. So let's say you choose the header type service catalog and then add your services like board and train, group classes, private lessons, things like that. Okay, and I actually already have one created here. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. And in our preview, we can now see our description. We can now see our structured snippet, which is service catalog as a header, and then our services that we offer. And then we can also see Dallas, Texas here, which is part of our call out as well. All right, so that is how you create a Google ad. So just to go over some of the things we've covered, I know there's been a lot in this video, and if you've made it this far, and if you've done all the things that you're supposed to do, congratulations. You are going to be profitable with Google Ads. I would find it very hard to believe that you won't be. Okay, just to kind of summarize what we've covered so far. So we talked about how important it is to show up on the first page of the search results. 95% of the people on Google who are searching for something do not leave the first page. All right, so once you get to the second page, that's only going to be about 5% of people who go there. So it's very important we get on the first page. What Google lets us do, Google Ads rather, is lets us skip the line of trying to get there organically, which can take a lot of time and money and effort. It lets us skip the line and pay to be on the first page of the search results, which is why Google Ads is freaking awesome. And then we went over campaign structure. So we went over the three layers or levels of a Google ad campaign. You have your campaign, you have your ad group, and then you have your ad within the ad group. And we covered ads, we covered ad groups, we covered the initial building of the campaign, the settings. We covered stags, single thing ad groups, and what those mean. We covered keywords and the keywords planner and how to look for keywords. We covered keyword match types. And then we talked about ads and the various factors Google looks at to determine when and where you should rank. And then we talked about the importance of really just focusing on relevance. And don't overthink all these factors and try to be perfect with your Google ad. Focus on relevance. Right? We've talked about headlines, descriptions, and assets. We talked about putting ourselves in the user's shoes and asking questions that will help us create ads that are super relevant to the user, especially in that moment while they're searching for a dog training solution. If you haven't watched video 3, market research, go do that. And then we went ahead and we just built out a quick ad together. And I know I didn't, give you guys a bunch of perfect headlines and descriptions. But again, if you've watched part one of this series, one of the first things I mention is I'm not trying to fish for you in this series. I want to teach you guys how to fish, because if you watch this series through and you listen to the advice and the information I give you and you apply it, you will be able to, you'll never have a problem with getting clients in your dog training business ever again. Right? If I were to just give you guys all the perfect answers and the perfect headlines and descriptions, I would help you out, but only for a very short term. And ultimately, I would set you up for long-term failure. And I don't want to do that. Okay. So we went ahead and we've gone over the responsive search ad. We went over some headline examples, some description examples, some site links. And at this point, you should have let me just back up a bit here. So at this point, if you follow this series through, you should have a system for following up with your leads. You should have done market research. So now you're looking at your market through the lens of a marketer and not just a business owner. You should have a badass landing page that you created, right? And now you have a Google ad to take traffic to that landing page. And once they get to that landing page and give you their contact information, you have a follow-up process to convert them into paid clients. And I hope all of this has made sense and is starting to click for you guys. All right. We're not quite done yet, though. At this point, most people set it and forget it. They start their ad and they never look at it again. This is a big mistake. If you want to get the highest ROI consistently for years and years, you must know how to manage and optimize your campaign on an ongoing basis. That's what's in the next and final video. We're going to go over Google Ads optimization. I'll see you guys in video 7.